It's a brand new day, and we'll be making history. Are you with me? Won't you stay? We have come so far. This is who we are. And like the rising sun, we have just begun to play our part. This is the time we form the chorus. Lift your voice for those before us. We can rely on one another. Feel the pride, let's show our colors. We are heroes and dreamers. We are restless believers.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever time it is, wherever you are. This is GailofGaia, and this is Free Range, where we graze on wild ideas, and we have wonderful guests. And my wonderful guest today is, of course, someone we all know and have seen on here before, Ms. Jenny Lee, the Seer.
Hey.
Welcome,
How's it
Jenny.
going?
Haven't seen you for a while.
Yeah.
How are things going?
The energy's been different, and
Oh my goodness.
It's-
Yes,
you're-
it's driving me crazy.
well, it's the 3D energy that's driving us crazy because we're outgrowing and dividing. So I think people it's like the plague. We're just avoiding anything 3D, any kind of concept of 3D. We're just not a part of it no more.
It doesn't feel right. Yeah, it just doesn't resonate, so to speak.
No, it doesn't at all. And so I think we're noticing that we're feeling uncomfortable in that lower vibration, and we're not putting ourselves in it. And everybody that I talk to, they're just avoid the store, avoid the salon, avoid going to the doctor. They don't, it's like, when you, it's just like a little tick. Everybody's like, I don't want those ticks to get on me. And anywhere they go, they're afraid that something's going to drag home with them, and then they're going to end up dealing with that energy. So everybody's like avoiding anything parasitic, anything that's low vibration. We're like, nope, that's not us. It's not a part of us. So we're changing. We are inside out.
And we're moving up in the dimensional staircase, correct?
Yes, we are. And it's a great thing, but it doesn't come without side effects. And like I told a couple people, it's like if they would have told us ascension and ascension issues, if they would have informed us before, I don't think a lot of us would have said, no, I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that. And so, because we've been feeling it since April, and those ascension issues, and it affects us and wipes us asses out.
Oh my God, yes.
Our asses out.
Oh, I go to bed early, get up early, sometimes wake up at 2 or 3 o'clock or 3 or 4 o'clock, depending. I don't know when, but it's everything seems off. And I feel like I'm almost, I hate to say it, but kind of like disoriented or just, like, where am I going? What am I doing? Why am I doing?
Right.
It's really weird. I don't like it much, but
I think it's like this small mirror effect that we're in the 3D, and it's breaking down, and our high vibration spirit is not connected to that, and it feels the difference, and we don't want to be around it. Just like the higher vibration beings don't want to be down here, because it's the same thing. It feels uncomfortable, and they would not put their energy in it. So we're getting to the point we're ascending, but anything they put in front of us appeases us anymore. Food, entertainment.
yeah, there's none of that.
We're just like, can we be done? We just want to be done. We just want to get into the new energy. We don't care about any of that stuff. We just want out. We're at that point. We just want out now.
Yes, please just give us a break. We're exhausted. We're tired. We've been working this thing for a long time. But I was watching this one video about this very thing that we're talking about, and all the uncomfortable things being part of the ascension, or some people call it rapture process. And it actually, we have to remember that we came here for a reason, and that's to liberate this prison planet by liberating our brothers and sisters, setting them free from the prison. If that, I don't know if that makes you feel any better, but that is why we're here.
What I feel like the moment I got here, like the moment I was seated, there was not a point of relax, enjoy it. It was the point of, you got work to do. I don't care, what age you are. I don't care if you're an infant. You got stuff to do, and it just feels like we've been going nonstop.
Yeah. It's like, get at it. And you have been getting at it.
And we're tired. And we're exhausted.
Oh my God. I live on the second floor, and sometimes when I walk up the stairs, I feel like I'm carrying an extra 100 pounds.
Right.
It's just like, it's
that's that stagnant. The air is not clear. We're all walking through this, that our crystalline soul does not work in anymore, because we are not asleep anymore. So we are aware of the negativity of what it's doing and the control. See, this is the thing that people don't understand. As we awaken, as you awaken as a collective, that's changing the conscience in all of us. And we're feeling it because all of these people are awake now. So that reality of that matrix is breaking it down just to understand the reality of it. All of us are seeing it now.
Yeah, isn't that neat? I like that.
It is, but we're paying the price of seeing it.
Yeah, this is true.
Yeah. Yeah, and it is a debate, and some of us in the group have said this, you plan to go to the store, you plan to get it, and then you're like, oh, no, I'm not going. It gets to that point, and then you're like, I don't think so. I'll starve first. There's just that energy that is like, I don't care. I'm not going today. And you have to literally compromise with yourself to get in there and then get out and not be around it.
Right. Now I send my son in whenever I can.
I'm telling you, it's a different energy that you are being very careful of where you're going, what you're doing, and what you're affected by. Because when you get home, well, they're going to be passing out the rest of the day, because that just completely dismantled us. And the thing is, the negative and the 3D people, they have nowhere to get their energy anymore. So they're taking it from us. We don't want to be around them because we're that light, we're that podium of light, and then they just suck it right up. And that's why you see them literally beating the hell out of each other on the streets now, and going ballistic and going just to
oh my God, it's like I don't even want to deal with people out there. They could go after you over no reason at all. That's what it seems like.
It is. It's just you just want to go, get me off of here now, because there's a lot of us. We're at the edge. We're all at the edge. We want the freedom. We want that door to open with the freshest breeze of spiritual air. Just that's what we want.
Yeah.
Across the board.
We are in the third world war, but it's a spiritual war, and we're really feeling the weariness from it.
Right. We are.
And the frequencies are all mixed up. It's like, and that's part of the issue too. And I have to say too, I have some aches and pains that I've never had before, and I don't have any reason for having it.
Right.
Like, wow, why is my lower back bothering me? It usually never does. Stuff like that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I have a heating pad upstairs. I have a heating pad on the couch because it's like a piece of you that doesn't go very far because of that. It feels, the aches and the pain. So, and some of us use, cold compress, but that doesn't work for me. It always has to be hot. So there's just so many issues that we're dealing with. And then the way that I deal with it at night is putting a mask on because you're just putting it out of your mind, not accepting the view of it, not allowing it in, just tuning it out.
Yeah. That really helps, especially at night. And what I've found too is don't pick up your cell phone, which I'm guilty of many times because it keeps me awake. Once I get on there for a little while, it wakes me up and I can't fall back asleep for a while.
I wrap it in a shirt or I put it out because I'm just like,
you just turn it off. But
yes.
Anyway, well, we were going to talk about earth changes, and we have some that we can even share what's going on. I got a couple of pictures
Why don't
about.
you start with that, and then I'll go into the definition of how I feel things are going.
Okay, great. Fantastic. Yeah, these are some earth changes that are happening as we speak. One from Alaska and one's in Florida. And I think they'll both come up. So hang on 1 second while I find it. Okay, I think this one is it. Yes, it is. Watch this. Okay, guys, can you see it? Let me see if I can make it big, okay? Here we go. Are you ready for this? Watch.
Alaska. Yep.
The whole darn house fell in there. Oh my God. I hope there wasn't anybody in there. I would have moved away. Look at how under these other buildings, they'll be lucky if they don't go down too, because as that wears off there. Wow. Just pretty amazing.
It is, because everybody wants to get as close as they can to the water, except when the water comes too close to the house.
Yeah.
That is the thing. So
there's something else on that page too. I think it shows a little bit. Let me see if I can get to the right page. I mean, it should be right there, right?
Right.
Oh, that's a different one. That's okay. Let me make this smaller and see if they show what's going on. Here's this one here. Oh, there's so many commercials. I'll try to get it off of here as soon as I can. Get off of here. It doesn't even give me a skip here.
Of course, because they want to product push you every minute.
Oh, I mean, I can't even go on to YouTube without some of these. A commercial every 2 minutes, it seems like. Let me see. Is this it now?
With historic rainfall and catastrophic flooding. More than a foot of rain has already fallen near Tampa, along with 6 feet of storm surge along Florida's Big Bend. With the storm expected to stall, even more flooding is anticipated over the next several days in Georgia and the Carolinas. At least 5 deaths have been reported, 1 in Georgia, 4 in Florida, and that includes a 13-year-old boy who died when a tree fell on his mobile home. A state of emergency has been declared in Florida, Georgia, and South Carolina after Debbie made landfall as a hurricane this morning. We have team coverage, and CBS's Tom Hansen starts us off from Florida's West Coast.
Right.
Tom.
Okay. Now, there's one other one I want to share. I think I have to turn it off to bring up another one. Hang on. Let me share again. Now, this other one is in Alaska. Okay. It's like one was up here and one was down here.
Right.
So let me bring up that one. breaking water event. So you can go to the and see it. And he talks about this. I'm not going to show it. I don't know what part. I don't remember. I had it. Let me see if I can figure out where I was going to show this starting at. Because it's too long to watch the whole thing, obviously.
Right.
But,
so, I mean, all these storms and these waves.
Let me see where he comes. Maybe he doesn't show it here. No, I think I had to go to some. Well, actually, what I was showing that house falling in the water, that was in Alaska, and that's what he was talking about.
Right.
And then he does have a picture on that site that we were on before that actually shows where it showed the Florida and it showed, the Alaska, and it's. And then there was another guy who was talking about coastline flooding, where everybody's, I told you this before we got on, where everybody's looking out there and they see this big long line on the coast, and then all of a sudden they were, well, what the heck is that? What the? And by the time it's getting closer and closer, here it is, a huge wave that could be 1,000 feet high and 1,000 miles long. Apparently, these has been determined by different scientists. Whether or not it'll happen, I don't know. What's your take on all of this, Jenny?
So I drew a wave, and I have drawn them out of San Francisco, over by that bridge. I have drawn them in many places, and the thing is like they said, this wave, this blue wave that's coming, it's not just water in it. There's a frequency, and that's what I'm interested in, what it's going to do. It's not, see, we have to get out of the 3D and understand that this is 4D stuff happening. And so everything is energy, and everything is connected. Everything is affected in a different way. And so it's almost like a smart wave directing certain things. So it's hard to understand because we're looking at things in a 3D, but as the water, like I talked about an earthquake in Japan, and they said watch the beaches on that. Watch what is coming up on the coastland of it. It's the residue what it leaves behind. Same as I see in New York, same as I see in the West Coast. So it's just like these hurricanes you're seeing, and there's something above circulating. Well, they're showing me now it's on the ground, and now it's in the water, in the waves of the water. So that's the thing you need to look at and pay attention to.
Well, if they say that the whales have a lot to do with our planet and the water and the frequency and so on and so forth. So if we're changing to another frequency and dimensional stairway, it's going to happen in the water first, maybe.
And that's what I talked about 2 months ago, that I was hearing when I would hear whales and the sound of the pitch of the whale, it would go into me in a different way. So that our ability as podiums of light, of frequency that have been working on yourself, have been listening to your inner strength, that's tuning up to everything in nature. And that's what you call that, that inner instinct is completely off the board now. Okay. And so there's certain sounds and frequency I can't handle. And right now the whale sound is completely different for me. So there's a frequency, as you're sitting in front of you and we're watching a screen, there's frequencies moving in front of us, and movement and color and
waves.
Yes. And it's affecting us. And what you're getting from the normie 3Ds, you're getting parasitic waves of negativity, and they're consuming forms, because a lot of the negative is not here anymore. So the negative use your the 3D negative talk, negative vibration to consume that. Now, these negative people in the 3D that are not awake and want to assume that our world is the same, they need energy. So they're looking to the ones that are awake to take it and consume it. That's why we're like, no, stay away from me. I don't want to hear you. I don't want to be around you. It is a plague situation completely across the board. We're avoiding.
Don't say you don't want to hear it too much because you might manifest that.
Yeah. Well, I don't want to.
I said that. I'm just saying that because I had a hearing issue and I was saying that for a while. That's funny.
Well,
anyway.
So the thing is, that's what I talked about, the animals. Remember I said animals will come down in areas that you never saw them come down before. In the streets that you've never seen them stand still at a still moment. Every natural habitat is in sync with that energy that's coming, which is creator. So when the humans, the 3D humans are like, what? What's going on? You know, we're like, you know.
Well, willful ignorance is a problem.
Oh my goodness.
Anyway, Mags Hill said that before this past weekend, you said the energy was going to be crazy over the weekend. You were spot on. However, did you notice early Monday morning a shift in the energy?
Yes, I did. I did. So it completely changed and went up a different direction on things. But like I said, and even in my groups of stuff, I'd be like, how everybody feeling? How you feeling? You know, because it's changing by the hour. And then all of us have figured it out. We're watching the Schumann resonance. They're blacking out the Schumann resonance too, because everybody's figuring certain things out. So, I mean, they're not letting us see everything, but you can tell that stuff is going on. You're not seeing the clouds in the sky the way they were a month ago. Everything was hidden, and it was a horrible looking fog of clouds. You're not getting that. You're getting more clearer clouds that are coming lower. Like I told you, a normal cloud that comes down and it moves, how it moves consistently. It doesn't stay in one spot for hours, ever. So there's a movement happening through our atmosphere now. And you can tell at certain times in the day, you could feel how it comes in and it's really good. And then by the afternoon, we're like, yep, we're closing the curtains. We're shutting everything down. We're not looking outside, you know, because we have tuned in to what's good for our soul and what is not across the board. So these changes, you know, we go with, and I talked about these plates of the inner earth, and they show how they'll rotate in plates. We're coming to a process and it's making a frequency. And I told you it was moved to the surface. So everything's moving to the surface now. And so now it's creating waves, earthquakes, all that stuff is happening. And you still have people think, well, there's got to be somewhere on this earth that, you know, none of this is being affected, you know, getting affected by them. That they would love to believe that. But there's no place on this planet that's not being affected by this energy.
No, the whole planet is going to shift, and Gaia is doing her thing right now because she wants to shift into the fifth dimension where we all belong, and we need to really connect to her to keep our energies high and to go with her.
I'd be watching if there's any storms at night. I'd be watching, taking pictures. I'll be watching the lightning. I'd be watching to get these imprints, and because that's what they say, to pay attention to the sky.
Yeah, they say that a lot. A lot of people are.
Want to pay attention because you don't want to miss some of this. That's, you know, when you realize what was going on, you're like, how did I miss that? But you want to be paying attention to what's going on. And so that's the whole process of this, is witnessing it on,
Wow.
You know, and
different chaotic things going on all over. It seems Teresa is mentioning fires in Salt Lake City. And at this point, they're not, oh, that's the wrong one. It moved. just when I click on it, it moves. Anyway, she was talking about the fire. There's a thick haze fire and smoke haze for weeks now, and
Right.
they can't even see the mountains right in Salt Lake City, right where they are. So, and then we got the flooding in Florida, the flooding in Alaska. Who knows what's next? What do you think is next? Got any predictions there, Jenny?
I do. So volcanoes, we're not over
Oh, okay.
process, and because that's like a release of the earth, a release of energy, and so there's more to come on that process. And then how high they're saying it shoots up, like you've seen it high, but they're just showing me it's going to be shooting up pretty high. So it's like a teapot releasing.
Yeah.
So they're showing me that too. But the thing is like my main concern is, this wave, the oceans, the frequency, what is it doing? How's it affecting? And I would be wondering what that water is carrying. It's going to affect everything. So, and that's a hard concept that people think it's like water. Water is just dead. It's not, it doesn't think on its own. Well, that's not what you're doing with this.
Water has memory.
Right.
And a lot of it.
So I'd be, what they say, like, I think I said last month about Japan and something surfacing to the coastland of it. Got to be paying attention to what is going to appear. Then you had this so-called war dealing with Israel and all this stuff, however they want to present that. But remember, I said that was the last war, however they want to present it, that everything that's underneath there has to surface too. So I always saw some type of phenomenal energy coming out of that ground and presenting itself. So this is where we go into the giants.
In the Mideast or in Israel?
Israel. There, because there's certain things that are hidden.
Okay.
So they say that has to surface. It has to surface. But then there will be a sign in the sky that you're going to see of the reaction of that releasing. That's the whole thing about it. Because if you ever wanted to hide anything and put a bunch of dirt over a bunch of items that you didn't want the public to know or have knowledge, or the technology or the wealth, then all you have to do is put a mountain up there with a bunch of dirt and put a bunch of churches on top of it and just camouflage everything. So, and then add massive confusion on all those religions on top of that and let them be at war with each other. So, that's why I always say, Spirit says, always look in the ground when there's chaos above. Look in the ground. There's stuff going on.
Interesting.
So, and I've talked about, and I've done drawings on the giants. And last night, they said there's an activation mode on that. So, and that's what I don't want people to be in fear on that, because they've always told me intelligent beings. They worked with the gods. And there wasn't any one human that was going to summon them and wake them up. It's a frequency that your earth is already reacting from that's going to wake them up. But these were intelligent beings. They were intelligent. They used them for protection. They used them for knowledge. And so that is nothing that I fear, on that process. So Utah, Iran, there's a lot of places. The rainforest, they're just showing me these areas high in Washington State, a lot of, so, and they even showed me, they're like, there's going to be an opening in the ground that you're not going to understand how this is opened this way. And they've showed me doors, like mountain doors in Utah, how it just opens up too. how they're hiding. But they're carrying something that, again, has to do with the frequency. And this is what, 3.5 years ago, I did drawing on this. So it's going to be interesting because I wait for them to say, it's active. It's going to be active, or you're going to see these beings in a different way. And they're not going to come out with some rag on their crotch, and they're not ignorant. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
See them full of armor.
Lori has a good question there. Opening to Middle Earth, perhaps?
Yes.
That hole you were referring to?
Yep. So that inner Earth is releasing that energy. And then I always talk about the inner sun.
Doors, yes.
Allowing that to arise. But, and I would see the energy of the gentleness, the gentle giant. And, that comes with some process of information with that. So, people are like, well, giants eat humans. I'm like, humans eat humans.
True.
You're worried about them? You're your own kind.
Exactly. That's a good point.
So you need to be looking at the unusual. You need to be looking in nature at unusual situations. Mountain slides, mudslides, rocks falling down. Just if this thing's going to shift, if something's going to open, they're showing me a circle motion. So if you look, someone actually mapped this out, how these events are happening, and you start to look at a frequency as it's starting to accumulate. And I talked about us being bombarded into another world. Are we getting into that process? So
it's circular in nature, isn't it? I mean, that's how everything starts, in a circle. I mean, even Native Americans say that. Right. They do everything in a circle for a reason. But what are we? Square houses.
Yeah. So the news gets you to look at things on an area in Florida, an area in New York, but they're not like, why don't you attach it? Why don't you attach the energy? Is that, and how it's being stimulated and how it's being created. And I also believe they are bringing online different energy, the good guys. I believe they're rebirthing stuff from the past that has been hidden, and it can be hidden in these older buildings, but I think something's being, turned back on. So whether you want to call it a Tesla moment, but something's happening, something is feeding that's turned and shifted. And so that's where we need to look at this thing as one process energy together, and how it's reacting to each continent, how it's reacting to each environment differently. What is it trying?
Different energies and frequencies being emitted from different areas, I would think. Teresa was saying she's seen flying vehicles going straight down in the side of the mountain in the early morning, foggy morning. I think we're going to see a lot more of things of that nature. I know there are some hidden artifacts and hidden tunnels and so on in the Grand Canyon.
Yeah.
Not that far from me. And even in the Sedona area, I've noticed on some of the rock formations, there's a place that's called Dragon's Palace. And I'm trying to figure out how to get there, but I can see it. But it really looks like a palace. It's absolutely amazing. So the doors inside open up. Who knows what's in there?
Our veils of what we're seeing is changing. So you're seeing the old veil crumble.
Yes.
Completely. And if you're looking at this and saying, okay, well, I'm going to focus on allowing it to be what it is and not assuming, bringing in that left brain and assuming things that you've been trained that you need
conditioned for, yeah.
back up from it and let it be what it is. And also let it attach the way it's supposed to. Let it show you a pattern, what it's doing. And, thunder. And I always do this in humble healing. This thunder, lightning, mist, rain, all of that is combined, is connected to us in a reaction of things. And we're not looking at those as a frequency. But it's working together as a frequency now in a different way.
Interesting. Lori's mentioning that Antarctica is putting out some weird frequencies right now too. Are you?
Well, what I would say to that, I would be expecting, if it's coming from the ground in Antarctica or above, I'd be expecting that red ruby to show up again, because they showed me a solid red that it would make a circle, that frequency. So that's something that's going to reappear. So it's going to be interesting.
Okay. Divine Illumination 333 says, I live in the foothills next to the Mount Rainier in Washington State. Sasquatch habitat. Now we can welcome the gentle giants emerging. I'd rather be residing with them in the mountains than any human in 3D.
That is true. And
I appreciate that.
There's several people in my group, and all we want to do is take our money and buy campers. Campers and go as high as we can in nature. And
yeah, actually, that's not a bad idea. Instead of just totally moving, buy a good, nice RV that you can get out of Dodge if you need to for a while.
Self-containing, everything in it, you're good. That's the whole thing.
Wow, I wish I had one.
Right. The thing is, because it's like the home pods. There's not much you really need in the future. Not, you don't need no fabulous big ass house no more, because the ego will be completely gone, and everybody will have money. So the whole thing,
and they're going to have those broad spectrum replicators too. So
right,
that's just, it'll be awesome.
Right. So that's the whole thing is, and people seeing what really matters. It's coming forefront. They get it. They're starting to really understand, and the people that are, I call it they're eating this carbonated deposits of, you want to call it food, and no one wants that anymore. Everybody's trying to get as close as they can to something that's pure to eat or whatever. They're worried about these grocery lines going down. I'm not, because you're not eating food. You're not eating food at all. That's the whole thing. So, and I got to tell you, there's a lot of people, 10 days of no food or whatever, we're not stocking up in the way that people think we're stocking up, because that stuff ain't going to do you any good. It's not going to do you any good, because it's not real water. It's not real meat. Nothing. It's a hard thing to get past that concept. It's not real.
Well, there's a lot of fake food, if that's what you're getting at.
It's fake crap.
Food.
Yeah. They think they're
not nourishing. It's synthetic food, is a way of putting it too.
One of the biggest brands out there, and you're paying to be poisoned out of your own pocket. You know what I'm saying? And because they're able to take the taste and make it just a little bit more tastier and make it, you think your taste buds are really enjoying this, and it's like, it's not good.
They actually use chemicals to make it addictive.
Right. And your body's, it
It's
sits
like-
in your gut, and your gut goes, oh no, I don't think so. And that's just, look what is happening to society. That's the whole process. You almost have to detox away from those type of merchandise. They put it in your face on purpose to get you to want it. Okay, when you're away from it, it's not a part of your process. It's not something you desire anymore.
That's good to go to. Somebody says, Lenore says she goes to local farms. Farms. I wanted to read this. New Earth has already begun. The Earth is emerging from inside out. That their crystals are growing along the mountain, and the core is making big ocean from inside the Earth.
Right, because there's levels of oceans inside the Earth. Like I said,
that's a hard concept for people to wrap their head around.
Right. It is, but there are levels of the ocean, and there's
inside the planet, inside our Earth.
Right. So, I think Prez asked about me a lot last night. How many levels are there? There could be 30, there could be 50, but it's like a pyramid to me that they show. Yes, you go down deeper and deeper, but then there's the side doors you can go through, and you're seeing different views. And they showed me an ocean. It's a deeper green, an emerald green.
Oh, really? That's interesting.
Purity, purification, that's important. And a lot of these areas have been untouched by man, which is good. So as Shepherd said, watch the water.
Yeah, there's a lot of underwater bases by extraterrestrials.
Right. So these lines, like I say, that's important right now. So we talked about the giants. So I want you to think also about the ley lines and those activation modes that are going to start. But this has to do, again, as I've showed a circle map of all the pyramids and ley lines together, and how it accumulates, and how they're all attached. So, and I saw these greenish crystal looking on top of each pyramid, in an activation.
Oh, like an emerald colored stone?
Yes.
Interesting.
So I
wonder if that's some kind of healing activation.
Well, I think it is, but it also is able to move, because I don't think all pyramids are. Sorry, can't do anything about that. So, but they said all pyramids are. It's not that there's just one that stays on the ground. There are many that can move. Some. That's how they got here. But again, we're looking at things in a 3D. If you look outside that process, it's a totally different deal. That's the whole thing. Like I'm teaching in class right now, I'm like, get outside the 3D. I'm not focused on the 3D. I'm focused on 4D and up, and looking at things in a veil. That's the thing about it, is people's perception are ready to accept it. They're there. We're out of the fear process. We're coming out of that. And you'll see that by society right now. They don't fear death anymore in a different way. And so it's a death of the old world and awakening to a new total world that is probably formed in a completely different way. And I mean the shape of it and everything. And we've been lied to from the day that we've been here. And
Mhm.
unlearn
And
everything.
so were our parents, and yeah, it goes
The
way back.
all the programs, all since the existence that we've been here, all the programs that are involved in it. And this is the thing, I think it's funny because people think after you find out what the banks have done to you, do you think you're actually going to trust a bank? That's why they're not, that's going to be
Coming
a
back.
completely.
Yes, I love it. They get the more they call it a mortgage. They
Right,
get the money from your trust account,
right,
pocket that money, and charge you to pay your mortgage, your so-called
right,
monthly bill back to them when they've already paid. They already got the whole thing. You should have been able to just
right.
walk into the house and had it. Yeah,
Double dipping.
they're all fraud.
Right,
Everything in our society is based on fraud. And
right.
fraud vitiates everything, and so everything's getting vitiated
And that whole
or
process
destroyed.
is when I talk about the puke bucket, it's everything. It's not just
Yeah,
the children, it's the society, it's the education, it's
the
everybody
religion.
that has ever come close to you pushing something towards you is like you're paid for and bought, you're paid and bought for, you're paid and bought for, and now you're left to sit back and listen to your own instinct because let me tell you, there's going to be, it doesn't matter what type of PhD you have or lawyer's degree you have, the most dependable process that you have is your inner instinct that has been taught to you from inside you. And that's what you have to use to interpret the truth and the lie because you can't trust them no more.
No, you can't.
No.
And that was something that was, and it's sad because that's been a downfall of humanity, which is actually a good thing. They're trusting.
Yeah.
They never suspected that people that they picked as representatives were going to be stabbing them in the back. But look what's
Right.
happened to Trump that way. I mean, uh, there's just a lot of that
Process
sort of thing.
on, and that's the thing. I was talking about how we are a collective of energy, but again, and it's a more of a collective of many people. They make us think that man and woman together, and I'm just going to tell you this, because they put you in that contract and they put you and they make you uh, just buy everything, buy into that system, buy into the houses, buy into the education, and you're never out of the process. It's a whole program. But your soul is like, I don't want nothing to do with any programs anymore. My soul is like, I'm done with programs. I'm done with that process. And I'm stepping outside the plate of glass and saying, no more. No one's going to make me feel obligated to any of that process anymore.
This is here's a good comment. Teresa put up there. I do feel on pause, although no, so ready to crack any moment. All this false matrix BS is irrelevant.
It is. And that's where Spirit said, when they pull the cord, when they pull the lights, what do you have to worry about? Everything new starts. So as you're submerged in the darkness, as I've taught people to see in the darkness, and don't be afraid of it, as the lights turn on, back on, everything that was built to control and contain you will be gone. Because this new world is built on freedom and free choice. But I'm telling you,
You'll be managing your own finances as well, unless you get a wealth manager, and
anybody,
you'll be your own bank.
right? Do you think anybody with that type of wealth that they're talking about would trust a bank right now?
Ah,
Oh, no.
they'd rob you blind. That's what they've been doing. That's what they're good at.
I mean, I have,
While they're smiling in your face.
right. Oh my God. There, I went to the bank, took some money out the other day, and this is squeezely little Peasel. You know, you can tell he just gets pissed off every time you ask for cash, you know, and I'm just like, give me my money.
Yeah. Even though they say that when you make a deposit, they've worked everything, they've worked all this stuff out so that we actually work against ourselves with their conditioning and words and spells and all that. It's all going to go away though, and rightly so. It's amazing. It really is.
It is.
Here's somebody bringing up the how come I can never say that word? Sestic. But yeah, that's all coming down. In fact, it's already down as far as I know, and it's supposed to be sent back to us eventually. I hope that's all true. I think it is.
Okay, and
Let's
this
see
is
what else we got.
to the debt clock. I've talked about this for a year. But they're a whole brand new system when that comes online that just shows you where humanity projects are going and more futuristic look on it and easier to understand. I think that's coming too.
Yeah. Okay. Let me see, because the script is starting to be a short adoption movie. I'm not sure what that one's about. Actually, let's see. By the way, so the one that asked about exhaustion, we were talking at that at the beginning of the show. I don't know if you missed it, but all of us are feeling that, just totally exhausted for
Right.
no real reason, just tired. Go to bed earlier than usual. Might get up later than usual, or wake up in the middle of the night too. That happens as well. So anyway, the energies are affecting everybody.
They are, but what I told you I'm excited about is this is what I want people to pay attention to. That's very important. That as you're evolving, and the thing that's going to change, like Spirit says, you're going to feel a warm energy with inside your soul. That's what I need people to pay attention to. And that stays on and that comes online. That's what we need to be paying attention to. That's what I remember of where I came from that I desire to go back to is that energy of that complete warmness. And they're like, that's going to come online. And of course, I'm like, when? When? Like,
That's what everybody says now.
we need that now. So that's the whole thing, is it's coming in layers, and we're going into that crystalline, our crystalline. And now that inner soul is lining with that. Then it's going to it is like turning it on, and it's just going to vibrate, you know, like this. And it's not going to stop. That's the whole thing about that warmness. It's going to change. And then you're going to be like, okay, this is exactly what I need. It has everything that I need and desire. But then there's this inner knowing side that's going to accumulate too, you know, in our how we communicate and the true instinct of things. And that's the whole thing we're evolving into. There's no more, which is going to be nice, it's just no more bullshitting. You know,
Yeah, that's what it boils down to. No more bullshit. It'll be in the truth frequency, and it is a frequency and a feeling associated with it. Yeah. And Teresa, I wanted to just tell you real quick. Yes, we were talking about, I'm tired and I feel like I weigh a ton. I got to go up the stairs, and it's like, oh my God, I feel like I've got a 100-pound backpack on or something.
Exactly.
So, yeah. And someone else said the same thing. So
this is another thing that they're showing me, and I'm going to talk to you about this too, is so people think that, you know, how they enter our atmosphere, because there's an opening that's going to happen. And it's something that that they think, the normies think, that people are going to be freaking out about. So when you start to see things in the sky that are more of a higher intelligence, I don't think anybody in society is going to freak out. I think they welcome it. I think they welcome the technology. I think they welcome change.
We don't want to go back to the old. Are you kidding me? the
I've had people say, I just want it to stay the same way. And I go, I know you're an NPC.
This is true.
Right. Because we have to look forward, not backwards on everything. And a lot of us are, but a lot of us are desiring to be going back to nature.
Oh, for sure. Nature. I love nature.
I don't have nothing to do with the city. I want to do with nature.
The more time I spend out there, the better I feel, the more it clears my mind and the energies to be positive.
Right. Because you're connecting with it more and you're listening differently and you're feeling it differently. And that's where that balance is.
And another really good thing is water.
Uh-huh.
Being around water.
Right. And so I'm happy with how things are going towards a direction. I'm seeing more stuff getting done. But I think all we're waiting now is just pull the cord. And then you're going to see people freak out. But you know what? Just be happy that everything's off. And when it comes back online, it's a new world. So.
Oh, Deborah Grant, I have to tell you this. She says, I love nature. It's the mosquitoes I don't like. I don't like them either. But you know what I heard? I take some fresh basil and rub it between your hands and rub it on your arms. They hate the smell of it. I like the smell of basil. That's a thought. There may be other remedies for that too, but that one's simple and easy.
Mosquito burgers in a certain country. It's a nutrition that they put together and they catch it in a net and they actually make a burger. It's a black looking burger and it's supposed to be a lot of nutrition in it. It's crazy.
Mosquitoes? Are you talking about mosquitoes? Oh, that grosses me out. That's disgusting. Sorry.
I'm telling you, I'm not eating it, but what I'm saying is, it's interesting when you brought up that subject. So, yeah, I think we're seeing good processing going on right now, and we are all waiting for it just to pull the cord.
Yes. It can't be that far off.
No. There's nowhere to go. There's no backup system to back up the calls. They already tested everything they can test. They just got to pull the cord. That's it. So
that's a good thing to do. Some Rockers LA said, I've been saying random positive messages to strangers lately. I hope to spread a positive frequency. And that's what you're doing. That's a good thing. Little things like that matter.
Oh my goodness. And
it goes out into the universe. I mean, it's a good thing. It affects a frequency.
I always see a bum completely different. I call them the messengers because they're behind the veil, seeing things in different avenues, and I just like that process of that. And this whole event with humanity, it should make them very humble. Mm-hmm. But they have to accept what they decided not to see. That's going to be hard to get over. What you denied and promising to protect, and they just look the other direction. It's something people don't talk about. There comes a process that's going to hit you emotionally, because people tend to think that they're at the core of them. They're good people, and they're not paying, that they've done everything they're supposed to do for people, but this is a different understanding. There's going to be a lot of energy where it's like, how could I have not known? How did I just ignore this? It is going to
Good.
wreck soul in a different way of reality.
Right. And you're going to have to forgive yourself too.
Well,
it doesn't do any good to beat yourself up,
Well, there's going to be a lot of people going, we need to go hunting.
Really? Yes.
And as they say, they won't be able to walk down the street, and that's true.
That's very true. Wait till they really find out. They're just starting to touch the surface, and even when they deal with some of the politicians, they don't talk about the nasty stuff that they've been doing yet. They just talk about they may have committed treason and things of that nature, whereas the crimes against humanity and children are far worse than anything called treason in my book. But
yeah,
go ahead.
It's hard. It's that energy alone of feeling bad about what they have dismissed. That is going to bring society down to this humbleness. I'm just saying, because that has to get to a certain veil of acceptance. Once it gets to a whole world view of looking at it, And then, as I say, a day has to be remembered for these children. They have to be remembered for what they sacrificed. They have to remember for the pain that they went through. If there's any day that needs to be celebrated in their soul's memory, it is that day. That must never be forgotten.
It's true. Because if it's forgotten, it makes it possible to happen again, and that cannot ever happen again. So Mags Hill is asking, will we have anything from our life here when we transition to the new earth, like clothing, family, heirlooms?
No. What do you need it for? That was the lesson you're supposed to go through.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know about you, but I don't want to take anything. I want to go.
I don't have anything that I care that much about.
I would, animals. I would say that.
Oh yeah, my animals are my little fur angel for sure.
Yeah.
And I'd be more than happy to see any of the other animals that I've had in the past that have since passed.
Yeah. Yeah. You don't need nothing.
Divine Illumination 333 said, it's beautiful energy. I remember. I keep getting glimpses of it. See, so everybody's at different veils, and as that's really a positive thing, and that's going to be happening to more and more people all the time, because the energies are rising and people are getting another veil taken off. So
right.
To speak.
That's where you're going to see each week of this happening, and more, and more, and more. So what you're going to see that's coming, the awakened people, we're going to see a different breakdown of the normies. Like, you are going to see them so tired, so exhausted, so dysfunctional that, they cannot function at all. And this is where I talk about that these ones that are awake, that have been paying attention to things, they are the podium of light that shows the new path, and like I don't believe, like, again, that I say there's only about 35% that are actually humans here. The rest are all kinds of different programs. That is a different veil of accepting too. Because
I didn't really think about that much, but that's true. People will have difficulty with that.
Yeah. So the Jubilee, I keep hearing Jubilee. I'm like, okay, so
that forgiveness, yeah.
They have to pull the cord on that, and it has to be done. I think that's the first thing that you'll see, and then the other abundance side will come in. They have to see that reset. I think that's important to be bearing that witness is the reset.
Hmm.
And I think the society that I'm worried about is the elders. Their whole life, they have been taught, they've been enslaved, they had to work hard, they don't even get the care that they need. And so there's going to have to be gentle souls that can help them understand this new life, this process of non-worry. That's going to be hard because that takes some extra time and energy to do. And we get caught up in what's happening and rushing, but there's some that are going to be lost in this.
Right.
Yeah.
Very true. Well, that's what we're here for too, is to help others. And,
right. Well, you're really going to see when the lights go down and the cord is pulled, who's left helping each other. Because the dark ones are going to be running.
To hide, yeah.
At the very
and rightly so, because if the people see them, they're in big trouble.
The dark ones are going to be running. Their true intentions, if it was not to serve the light and it was served to serve the dark, they're going to be gone. And YouTube's going to be like, hello, anybody here? Because that's the whole thing. We bought or sold, and that's the thing. Your true intentions of what you're here to do, it's already showing. And so there's no place for the evil to hide. There's no place to go. You have to understand, to be them right now, that would be a miserable place to be in. You're not sleeping, you're not doing anything, you're just waiting for that door.
There's some kind of sound in the background.
That is, I got car races.
Oh, okay. Okay. Max is asking, what about my sisters and daughter who are still asleep?
Soul, as Spirit says, is not your responsibility anymore. They've made choices. And this is a hard thing to understand. We're into a process that we have been taught and programmed, like they say, are true family members. That's going to be revealed too. So, because we all take big responsibility in carrying that, but I feel like it's a release there, like let it go. Let it go. It's on us how this is happening from this process out. You just need to stay on track of what you need to be doing for yourself now. That's what I feel. So it's not your responsibility at this point anymore.
Yeah, that's hard not to be, but yeah.
It's a chosen individual soul decision.
People make choices. Mathis is asking, I don't know, we don't like to give dates on anything anyway, so he's asking, will the Jubilee take place before or after Trump is in office? Won't Biden get the credit?
It has to be
now or before November.
It has to be soon.
It has to be what?
Soon.
Oh, soon, yeah. Okay, let's see. Okay, QFA has something to say about that. 1929 crash happened in September. Mr. T been pointing out September the last few weeks, and I had it pointed out by Ivan Ricklin too. September 3rd in particular, which I find rather interesting.
The societies, the corrupt banks, the states that have been corrupted, they cannot take from the gold without resetting and letting the zero balance come in. Like, Keep your hand off the gold until you reset the old regime. Just telling you, before anything has to happen, it has to be reset.
Okay, Lenore says she thinks that Lenore says, I'm sure the elders will be engulfed with love energy and told of all the lies. Well, they need somebody awake to be able to do that for them.
It's the Yeshua flipping the table.
Yeah.
It is.
Shut it all down so we can rest for a few days.
Flipping the table and being disgusted with their riches and taken from the poor. And then, I mean, literally flipping the table. And
it's like Yeshua did.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Enough is enough.
It is enough.
Let's see. Oh, well, I don't know about this one. This is interesting. They're asking if when the big shift will all illnesses and or conditions go away immediately.
I think that has to do with that energy that resides within us. Remember, I told you that you go into this energy that feels different inside.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I've been thinking about that lately. Because once that's online in layers, as we all are focused on the med beds, I'm wondering when you're at a certain capability of trust and understanding the spiritual enlightenment process, is it just accepting something and something is flipped in a different way of a switch? Because I've often wondered about that. Is it as hard as we make it? Are we? Well, is it already residing in us? Is it already at a point that it's going to go full capability?
I believe we had the ability to heal ourselves. We've had it in the past, but it was disconnected as part of the junk DNA that will come back online as the energy change, as they go up.
Right.
Our DNA will repair itself. We might only, I see the med beds as something temporary, just like our money system is. Money system will only be temporary just to kind of get people, because if it's all taken away, everybody, nobody's going to be able to figure out what to do. So that'll be phased out after a while. Same with the med beds. They'll be phased out after a while. People might need some help initially because of all the poison food, all the poison in the air, all the poison in the water. We have been poisoned, everybody. Mm-hmm. And so the med beds may be helpful to bring you back on line with what you should be, or where you would be if you hadn't been so messed with. But then if your own self-healing abilities come back online, you won't need a med bed anymore.
No. And that's what I'm talking about, that energy. And everybody knows when you do healing, when you go up into that high frequency, you feel that. It's emotional, it's connected to you, it's a collective. So what makes you think that you can't have that to the full capability? Because it has to do with trusting it. That's what I'm waiting for. I'm more excited about that energy than anything.
Yeah. Here's another thing that is a factor. The debt forgiveness will uplift people so much it will blast joyful energy high, possibly catapult us. Yeah. Same with when people
annihilate the fear at the very moment.
Right. I mean, that could just, that could create happiness real fast for people. Right. That is such a heavy duty stressor, having to worry about that. How are you going to do this, or how are you going to pay for that? But it's just endless. And it's all going to change. And when it does, people will just be so elated.
Right. And I what I'm noticing in like classes now, that people are getting so emotional because they're connecting to this new energy. They're like, where is this coming from? I go, it's been there. We just have not tapped into it at this level of frequency. And it's emotional. I mean, if anybody knows me, sometimes I see things or I channel things, and sometimes the information I'm getting, and all of a sudden just a surge of their emotion flows through me, and it's just a connection, and I'm like, oh, why are you doing this? But it's that collective of seeing us as one, universal.
It's so important that we come together as one. How do you see that happening, Jenny? Do you think that'll be as more and more truth is revealed, or do you think that
I think it's the money is just to restart, you feel better about yourself, that your value to be able to provide for yourself and be happy and content. Okay? So when your own value comes back, that you don't have that worry. Okay? So what does that bring people to do? That brings them to give, to share, to help, to serve. That energy alone starts the stimulation.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Yeah.
Giving or thinking of others. I mean, I don't know about you, but I mean, nothing I very rarely buy for myself because I don't find the value in buying for myself. I don't get it. I don't, I don't get that shop high, and everything. With me, everything has to have history or energy around it, to make
Uh-huh.
it complete about it. But I'm just saying, if you have that as a world collective of energy giving to each other, helping each other, animal, nature, that's a whole different system of stimulation,
Yeah.
of existence. But it's also a focus that we need to look at.
So we're all connected to everything.
Right.
And I think one of the things that helps people with their self-image is to remember that you are a divine being. You are a child of God, or the infinite creator, as a better way of putting it. But
And that picture that I've done of Creator where he has the cloak and his cloak is spread out and he's leading. He says, I will be leading my people to the light this time. I will be doing it. You know what I'm saying? So we're going to follow his energy into that amazing light. So instead of sending someone to do it this time, I will make sure it's done, and I will make sure I will lead them. That's that energy I'm talking about. That it's like getting up, moving, and knowing what direction you need to go in. That's what I'm talking about. That is what the negative can't do. That's what they never had power over. Something that is that spark that resides in us that follows the true light. And so he showed that gold light, and as our world opens, and his hands are spread out, or his spiritual hands, and leading us to that light now.
right. So this is just something, I just put this up here. I cut 40 lawns a day. I am a machine. That's how we have been part of the slavery system. How do you have any time to be creative?
Let me tell you, some of us can't even do our lawn and can't even go out there for 5 minutes and go, it's too much energy. I don't care if the grass is
Like
hot.
right now, especially the way the energies are. What
Right.
energy? I don't have any energy.
Right. No, you can't. It's different. So kudos to him that he can do it.
Baja Girl is saying everyone ascends eventually, and that is so true. It takes a while for people, unless you're an NPC, then you're not going to. Yeah, it is their choice to believe. All we can do is plant seeds. If they don't want to listen, there's nothing you can do. Wow, that's interesting. I'm just putting up, this is interesting. Tracy says, my daughter has the sight of white orbs, angels and demons. Ghosts yell at her for help. She is a teenager. When is a good time to work with a mentor?
Well, right now, actually.
Yeah, that was
Because
my thought too.
They're more open to the idea. So if you can get her in, you can contact me, or I can easily help at that age. But the thing is, you want to get them in now, because you don't want to get that fear process in them, because I remember at that young age, you had both. You had the light of the angels, and then you have the demons trying to put information or see if you'll listen to them. And they like to test and test and test. And so she has to be just, making that choice of that divide and pushing the negative out, because there's something inside that they want from her. So I definitely say that you've got to not wait until things get to a different type of test that they will put you through, where you are on your ass. I've been there many times where they push you to the brink.
The thing that's happening too, and I want to bring this up because nothing is what it appears, and the corrupt won't be. And that is so true, because it won't be able to exist in the frequency that we're moving into. It's already true. If it's untruthful right now, you will know it. You will feel it. It will be exposed, and it just can't. It can't exist in the frequency.
Remember, I taught you about the dust particle in the air. No one's going to understand what it is, and they say that is the negative dissolving.
Okay.
Because of that energy that it cannot stay in. And that's, you have to ask yourself this question. And I ask a lot of religious people, and I say, when they get into what they feel their value is, and what they're doing for others, and I go, what have you done for humanity lately? And most of them say, I went to church. Well, I didn't do shit. What happened to humanity lately?
Yeah.
And it's a very important question to ask everybody in some way, how you're serving, how you feel you're being the light, how you're assisting. And it is a part, and sometimes it's a communication, sometimes it's being honest, but it's valuing yourself and how you're giving in a different way. And I'm not talking about money. It's an energy. So a lot of those religious people just bat an eye and go another direction, because they can't answer that question.
And they tend to be very judgmental of those who have less than them. Not everyone, but a lot of them do.
Yeah. So,
like, do you help somebody that's on the streets? What do you do to help?
To a certain point, you can always get them food, you can always get them clothes, you can always help them in some way.
You've got a spare room. You might even be able to, if you get to know the person. You never know. I've done it before.
Yes. Yeah. My grandmother did that over and over and over. She didn't care who it was. She could go out of her way to help them. That was one thing that inspired me about her. Because it's all of the heart and how you see another human being, or even an animal, in hurting, suffering.
And know that they're a divine being like you are, and you're connected to them. So what are you doing to help them?
Right. Exactly. It's important.
Yes, it is.
So I would tell you, every religious person that comes up to you and says something, you just say that to her. You just say, hey, what have you done for humanity lately? Bye. I guess nothing. And that is the truth. Ask Joel Osteen that question.
Oh my God, yeah, he's terrible.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. Absolutely. Yeah, some of them are multimillionaires because they're part of the demonic system and people don't realize it. Anyway, Greg Williams is asking about what's the best to do with your bank account. Don't keep much money in there. I can tell you that right now.
Right.
Probably be frozen up and gone.
Cash is cheap right now.
Yeah. Yeah. So, and when they go down, they can take anything you have in there with them, and there's nothing you can do about it.
They just lock their doors.
Yep. So
I think we're at almost an hour and a half. So I think
yes, I think we are. Yeah.
we're doing another show next week anyway, aren't we? We're doing
Yes, we are, and we'll be keeping that to 1 hour. So, because it's going to go out on different radio channels as well. So,
Cool.
assuming I get everything to them, and I think they got everything they need right now. But anyway, Brian Christian saying something about the bank accounts are mirrored. I've heard this too on Starlink. You don't have to worry about it.
Behind the other.
I
One
still,
behind the other.
yeah, I still wouldn't keep anything that amounts to anything in there. That's just me, from what I've read. I've seen enough not to. But anyway, I guess we're going to have to call it a wrap. And
So the only thing I could tell people to take away is before they ask for the hand of the gold, they have to give away the Jubilee. And the table has to flip over. So we need that table to flip over, and we need to reset everything. So it's important that we start that way. That alone will bring a abundance to the humans. Before you get there, that Jubilee is a different jewel on its own. It's a jewel of freedom.
wow, isn't that what we all want? Freedom? I know
Yep.
it's what I want. Just leave me alone. Let me be free. Let me be me. Okay.
Yeah, so if they want to contact me for readings or classes or remote viewing, you know, all kinds of meditation, humble healing, and I'm sure you have my information at the bottom.
Yes.
In the description and stuff, so you know how to contact
Yeah, I
me.
usually have it there. Jenny'sSite.net. It's a real easy one.
Messages.
And if it's not there, I'll put it there. I can't remember if it's there this time or not. I copy and paste stuff sometimes
Yeah,
in order to hurry it along. Anyway. All right, everyone. Thank you for being here. Thank you for participating, and look for us next Wednesday at 5 o'clock Pacific time. That would be 7 o'clock Central time.
Right.
And
Night, and just watch and see when the table flips. That's what we need right now.
it's going to be happening soon, I think. So take care, everyone. Shine your light. Do something. Spread kindness. How's that? Okay.
Great. Good night.
We have found our way. It's a brand new day, and we'll be making history. Are you with me? Won't you stay? We have come so far. This is who we are, and like the rising sun, we have just begun to play our part. This is the time we form the chorus. Lift your voice for those before us. We can rely on one another. Feel the pride, let's show our colors. We are heroes and dreamers. We are restless believers, stronger than ever. Never say never. Don't look back now, don't look back now. control our fate. Destiny awaits. We are all the actors in the stories we create. Hope will be our guide. We'll no longer hide. When we roll like thunder, feel the wonder from inside. This is the time we form the chorus. Lift your voice for those before us. We can rely on one another. Feel the pride, let's show our colors.